Hey team, it's Bo. Welcome to another episode. Y'all, it is a beautiful morning out here this morning. We have this lovely fog bank that is lifting off of the Snake River. The Tetons still have fresh snow. It's greening up down in the valley. I have a herd of elk that is migrating north, staring at me, wondering what the heck I'm doing standing out here so early in the morning. Northern harriers are flying around. I got some eagles and some ravens as well in the tree. But y'all, in this episode, we're going to be talking about this bear right here. This is Spirit, or 399's last cub, before she was killed in October 2024. And I've been getting a lot of questions about this, and I just kind of wanted to jump in, weigh in, say what I think in this longer form content. So in this episode, y'all, we're going to answer the following questions. Did 399's last cub, aka Spirit, survive? Will we ever see Spirit again? And lastly, what's going on with this sub-adult bear that people have been seeing, myself included, in May in the Tetons this spring 2025? Let's jump into it. Before we jump into all the nitty-gritty of her last cub, of course, we have to kind of break down what happened to Grizzly Bear 399. She was very unfortunately hit by a vehicle south of Jackson Hole in the Snake River Canyon in late October of 2024. Tragic way for that bear to die. Sad to see her go in that way. Sad to see her go in general. But then now all these questions are coming up about her last cub that she had with her during that accident. So that last cub, they called him Spirit because he showed a lot of zest for life, a lot of playfulness. So the questions are all about, will this last cub, the prodigal son of Grand Teton National Park, will he return? Will he come back? Will we see him again? And all these other questions. So the groundwork is Grizzly Bear 399, one of the most famous grizzly bears in the world, 18 cubs out of 8 litters, 28 years old. A lot of pomp and circumstance, or a lot of her life has been known. So now we are curious, will we know the life of her last cub? Question number 1. Did 399's last cub, aka Spirit, survive? Let's talk about the pros. The pros are that was a really big bear. We think it's a male. As it was progressing in its growth, it just was huge. Even as a yearling, it almost looked as big as some second-year-olds that I've seen out here in the park. So I am hopeful that the size of that bear meant that it was really healthy, that it was on a great track for life, and that means that maybe it could do some hunting, some more foraging on its own, even outside of mother's care, if it was forced to do that hunting, that foraging, and building up those fat stores as mom died in October. The other idea that I kind of place in the pro column is that the amount of elapsed time that 399's last cub didn't have with mom is pretty short. So if mom was killed in late October, that means maybe you're like 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks of missing mom time from when she died till they'd go in the den. And then on the other side of hibernation, you might have a little bit more time where 399's last cub Spirit could have gained some more tips and tricks on how to be a bear before she was going to kick him out this spring. So the amount of elapsed time of bears on the landscape learning, hunting, how to be a bear is pretty short versus all the elapsed time that they had together when they were both alive. Now in the con column of that is I think about Spirit didn't have the nursing potential to go off of 399 all winter. So that bear, Spirit, would have had to build up all the fat stores by itself versus depending at least a little bit on mom during the denning season. So hopefully that's a little bit more in the pro column than the con column, but we don't really know if it survived. Nobody really, as far as I know, had a confirmed sighting that it was Spirit afterwards. Now, and maybe another one for the pro column is that, yes, we know these bears' patterns, and we watched 399 for so many years, and there's patterns. Bears are habitual animals where we can see them cross. They like to cross here. They like to take this path, all these different things. But these bears, these elk, these moose, these bison, these wolves that live out here 24/7, they know this landscape better than we do. And there's lots of little tricks and trades of little pathways that these animals can take that we might be aware of, but were we there at the right time? Was it at night? So one thing I think about if Spirit is still alive is that maybe if mom was killed down south, That bear walked all the way back up and denned where he's denned before, found another den. Grand Teton, 310,000 acres. It's a lot of space. It's a lot of space for that bear to move through without us noticing it. Question number 2 is, will we ever see Spirit again? Now, for this one, I'm not as certain, because even if we assume, okay, Spirit's alive, we think that it's a male bear. And as if you look at the track pattern of grizzly bears in this ecosystem, 399, she's got daughters, granddaughters, great-granddaughters that are in this area, 610, 926 of that same lineage, 964 when she was still alive. But male bears don't tend to really stick around the exact same area. They tend to get out of town. Of course, right now we're kind of reeling from the death of 1058, one of 399's male cubs. He was in the area, but a little bit kind of further east. And 1057 and 1058, they both left the valley as soon as Mom kicked them out, and they actually took different routes 80 miles south of here. So even if 399 had kicked out Spirit right now, spring of 2025, there's a good chance that that bear would have just left in general, and we probably wouldn't have gotten that much time with him at all. If we look at another example, 610, 399's daughter, kicked out her cubs last spring, and we haven't really seen much of them. They're just kind of in this sub-adult life stage, a rumspringer, a walkabout, what have you. They just have to kind of go explore their own zones and kind of get to know the territory where they can fit in that's not too crowded by other bears and that still has really good resources. So as far as ever seeing Spirit again, I don't know if we ever will, even if he is alive, because he could be going somewhere else. He could walk all the way up to Cody. He could go to Idaho. He could go south. There's still lots of room out here. So, and a lot of room, I guess I should say, a lot of places where even if somebody saw a grizzly bear of that age, the association of that might be 399's might not be there for either A, that demographic of people, think like ranchers and farmers, or other people, recreationalists who are even way out, I don't know, near Lander, Wyoming. So we don't know. I don't think if that bear is alive and he's moved off into another place, we might not ever see him again. And that's okay, because that's kind of the beauty of this place, is that there's still places, wild areas for these bears, these elk, these moose, these bison, these wolves to move through, to live through, and to be well in. The last question, before I get there, gang, if you could like and subscribe, and maybe even go follow me on Instagram, that would be greatly appreciated. I'm trying to build something here, and so I can get into this more long-form content, more talking about the nitty-gritty, my thoughts, my feelings, and get into like some more science about this ecosystem, not just on Instagram. Look at the pretty picture, here's some trending audio, and Bob's your uncle. Though, admittedly, I do kind of enjoy that game. But yeah, like and subscribe. All right, question number 3. Let's do it. So the last question is, there's been a subadult bear that has been seen in Grand Teton National Park, and the size is right, the age is right, and even potentially there are some markings on this subadult bear that could be just about right. So there's been a handful of sightings of this bear in the northern part of Grand Teton, in the stomping grounds of historically of 399, and some folks are getting excited, rightfully so, that could it be Spirit? Could it be 399's last cub? And I can't tell. I've only seen the bear once, but I can't tell if we are using small pieces of like the coat pattern and the territory to suit a theory that we really want to be true versus looking at the facts and the figures. Now, there are a lot of folks who've spent a lot of time, way more time than I ever have, with Spirit photographing that bear. And they have, in particular, identified that Spirit has kind of this blonde headpiece, this little back of the head, almost like a golden eagle, if you will, and very blonde on the back, okay? But right along the eye, there was this little niche, this little cutout of darker fur kind of coming off here to the temple, but like the crown of the cranium here being very blonde. This young bear that we've been seeing has something similar. Now the question then is that the same bear? Is that just something that two bears kind of have something in common? I don't know. I can't say either way for certain. It's a yes or a no. So here's where the importance comes in for funding national parks, doing research, and having good ethical biologists do this work, is we have 399's DNA somewhere in the Park Service's bank of research facilities. So wouldn't that be interesting if we could collar or get a sample of fur or something from this young bear that we keep seeing, and then we can compare it to 399's DNA? I would think that we can make that judgment that that is Spirit, that is actually the bear that everybody is hoping is that bear, and the prodigal son has returned and is living well up north in Grand Teton National Park. And how neat would that story be? So again, this eye patch kind of comparison thing has been thrown around quite a bit. I'm not certain of it. I think there's coat variation is really hard to tell for grizzly bears. It's much easier for wolves. I have a whole video on the things I use for grizzly bear identification, and coat variation, as I mentioned, is not always a giveaway. I'm looking more for collars, ear tags, scars, a little bit of territory, and it's easier with mother with the number of cubs and the age of the cubs that they have. So I don't know if it's Spirit or not. And at some level, I kind of like the mystery. I like the idea of we're not totally sure if it is. It could be. It also could be another great bear just being a grizz out here, and how amazing are we that we get to spend just a little bit of time with that bear. So y'all, those are my answers to the questions of, is Spirit still alive? Will we ever see Spirit again? And what the heck's going on with that last bear that we are kind of toying with the idea that could be Spirit. Y'all, if you like this longer form content, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button right now. And if you have anything else that you would like to dive into that's Grand Teton, Western Wyoming related, write it down in the comments. I would love to do a video that's what y'all are interested in. So let me know down there. If you haven't followed me on Instagram, please do so as well. And if you want to get on a trip with me, I'll leave a link in below in the description where you can come out here and we'll talk about all the stuff you want to talk about for 4 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours, 4 days, 8 days. And we can just have that great grand old time out here exploring all these places. And even if it's just coming out to a place like this and sipping morning coffee with some blueberry muffins, that sounds just about right to me. So anyway, gang, that's all I got for you. Stay golden. I'm going to keep enjoying this morning.